All right. There was a question about either and result, and I think that
Oh
actually
yeah.
leads into another question about this new filter module that we have. Um, so yes, there is a new filter module in Effect v4 that allows us to represent a filter function that can transform inputs. So in Effect v3, there were like all these different overloads, or not overloads, different methods for filtering. There was like filter, which took predicates and refinements. There was filter map, which allowed you to pass in a method that you could then use an option to like map the value and also filter stuff out. In V4, we're doing our best to try to consolidate. Yeah, so filtering is basically a way for us to allow where we can consolidation of these filtering methods. So if we maybe go back to my example here, maybe we can adjust this program to remove everything about logging for now. Oops. So, um, what was I going to say? Filtering, right?
Filtering, yeah.
So you'll notice that on these filter methods, there are several, just a few overloads.
Just a couple,
So let's say we have an effect on this program, the greatest number. And we want to filter this, and we want to say,
is even is odd.
sure. I actually had to think about that one. Why is this not working? All right.
That's interesting, yeah.
So this won't work. Like if you just pass in a predicate or refinement, it will work, right? Why is this giving me a problem? The left-hand side of an arithmetic operation must be. Somebody help me. I'm sleep deprived. Wait, what? Why is this an effect?
I would just try to oh, it's an effect.
Somebody help me.
Filter.
Oh, I don't know if I like this API. Okay, whatever. Let's just do it this way then.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, so let's say we have this predicate in here, and this is fine. This will work. It's not going to do anything. So this will like filter down our collection. Effect v5 incoming.
V5, yeah.
That's right. Effect v5 incoming. So predicates work, refinements work, but if we wanted to map this at the same time that we filter, we can't do that. In v3, we would have to use another method like filter map to do that. But in v4, the filter module allows us to do this. I forget the exact syntax of this, so help. Please give me 1 second. I think I can just do. So result is the new either. I think I can just do this. Result.succeed even. Actually, fail. And I think I need to wrap this into an effect. This is probably not the most wonderful example of this. Why is okay? Now my auto formatting is gone. Okay. You can just pass a result.succeed, result.fail. Can I? I don't know, Mike.
Doesn't seem so right now. We will double check this one.
Property pipe doesn't exist on element. Am I missing a paren? No. Well, in any case, we'll have to check the overloads and stuff. But anyway, the idea with like the idea with filters is that you can consolidate some of the APIs that previously required other methods to work. So like beta issues. Am I like missing a parenthesis? No.
Yeah, it's fine.
So like instead of having filter and filter map and all of these other different APIs, we can unify into this like either accepting a predicate or a refinement or a filter. So previously where you'd have to do like filter map and then do like option dot sum and then option dot none, right? Instead, we can use lean into result, have a single method, and this should hopefully work. Yeah. So the idea being like, again, consolidation, trying to keep the API surface more focused, smaller, allowing you to do things in a more semantic way. So like the filter module and filter functions in general. Maybe I can just do filter. Make. Will this work? Does it have to be an effect? Oh, whatever. The result API is probably my favorite. Okay. The idea being that like with the introduction of like a filter module, we can express these different types of filter operations in a cleaner way. And like this module has some, I think it's an overload missing. I think you're right. I of course picked
Yeah.
the one method where we forgot to add an overload.
There is missing the filter overload. Yeah.
But you can see like you can create filters ahead of time and then use them, and they're composable. And that's kind of like a very nice property here. You can create effectful filters as well that are reusable. So like this module allows you to kind of abstract the concept of filtering and allow it to become composable. So you can build up filters ahead of time. So if you want to do something more complex than just using a predicate, you can lift those things into like filters and compose those together. So that's the filter module. And then the result module is the replacement for either. And I actually really like the fact that we leaned into result for V4 over either because I think it's much more semantic. Either was used very frequently for expressing results. And that really didn't make a ton of sense because like, I don't know, it's not a result. uh, Instead, in V4, we renamed or refactored either into this result module, which is much more like semantic about expressing like, an actual result. So anyway, for folks who are curious, feel free to explore the module, but it should feel pretty similar to either. You can express the same type of discriminated union between two results as you would with an either. Let's see if there are any questions Luex says, where can I get the hat that says effect or die?
Oh,
Oh, that was an exclusive. I'm
ooh.
sorry. That was an oh wait, actually, hang on.
That's an exclusive, you know? You need to be there from the beginning to have it.
The OG.
The OG, yeah, the OG one.
It looks like Mirella was kind enough to create a V4 beta channel for us in Discord. So for anybody who has questions or wants to discuss V4, feel free to do it there. Let's see if did we miss any questions, Mattia?
I don't think so. I was looking into them, but I don't think so.
Carlos Cheetah says, can I define a logger layer which merges with existing and then later choose whether to use that one or another? For example, my programs decide whether to use that one or another.
And that's what we have seen.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did before. You would use standard service semantics to do that. So on the layer API level, you can either choose to merge with existing or not. And then you would provide like deeper the loggers that you want to use. Oh, that's actually a good point. In V4, this maybe isn't something we should advertise, but there's a huge footgun that a lot of people run into in V3, where I see this happen like all the time. Let's just get like a pipeline going. I see this.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like a huge anti-pattern, right, in V3, for numerous reasons, but the biggest reason being that multiple effect.provides disconnect the layer graphs from one another in effect v3, meaning that the layer passed to this provide is disconnected from this one. So you don't get the benefits of sharing the same scope, deduplication and memoization of layers. Like it's a foot gun, which we try to solve with the LSP. Because I think the LSP does give an error now, the effect LSP.
Yeah, if
right,
you
right.
have like, you need to pass proper arguments in the provide.
But I don't want to.
Layer.empty. You can pass the provide layer.empty and should work.
Oh.
Oh no. That's oh yeah, there it is. Yeah.
The proper thing to do here would be to extract these in V3, would be to extract these layers, merge them together ahead of time, and then have a single provide. But in V4, Tim, for feedback on V4 Discord or open issue PR, please open issues and PRs if the feedback is related to like an actual issue or a bug or something like that. For API level feedback, that can be in either place. We may choose to accept it or we may not. But if there's an actual issue or bug or missing API, definitely open an issue. Anyway, in V4, Tim, the illustrious Tim, enabled sharing of memo maps between separate provides, which means that in V4, technically, this is not a problem anymore. You can just effect.provide to your heart's content. Now, having said that, like we still recommend not doing this. But yeah, that foot gun is by default not really a problem anymore, which is good. So the memo map that's created behind the scenes by these provides, which is the thing that allows us to deduplicate and memoize layers, is shared between provides. If you want to disable that functionality, there's an option to do so. You just set local true, which means that this layer is now like local. And really what this option is for like, if you had like an inner effect, this, where you were effect providing something, and you wanted this to like take precedence and be totally disconnected from the layer graph that exists, then you could do this. But yeah, by default, multiple effecta provides all share the same layer graph now, which is pretty nice.
It's not recommended, but it's still like a safety net.
100% not recommended. You should be composing your layer graph ahead of time and providing it once. But in situations where you forget to do that, or you're not using the LSP because you're crazy and you don't get a warning about it, then we try to have your back.
Ideally, like using effect provide with a layer should happen ideally only once in your entire application, ideally. Only at the edge of your application. That's one way to see it, because that's like the location where you construct all of your dependencies and you chain them together. But yeah, again, that's a safety net. Whereas before in V3 you would have like weird issues that maybe you do not catch, you not understand why, because scopes get closed and reopen new services and whatever. Now you get like the behavior you would expect by default.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more semantic now. So kudos to Tim for working on that.